Namaskar. Hello and welcome to PGurus channel. I'm your host 𝙒𝙖𝙩𝙥. Today I have with me Elmer Yuen. We're going to talk about a few very interesting things. First of all, China's new currency. Second of all, the indictment of Donald Trump and what it means to United States politics as well as the overall democracy as we know it. And most importantly, I'm going to request Elmer to talk a little bit about what is happening with Hong Kong Parliament. So here we go. Let's invite the modern day Marco Polo, Elmer Yuen. Elmer,
thank you for inviting me. Thank you, sir. Sorry, I've been doing so much hectic traveling and almost on a daily basis. So Cerise tried to catch me to talk to the Indian audience, and I'm really trying very hard. Excuse me. Sorry for missing something. But there are so many things happening. Yes. It's worth talking about.
Yeah, go ahead, sir. First of all, where are things with the Hong Kong Parliament? You've been jetting across the world, trying to garner support. A lot of things are in place. How are things going now?
You see, what happened in Hong Kong was in 1997, the British gave away Hong Kong to the communists, basically, in a blind trust. They signed an agreement. It's called the John Declaration, Sino-British John Declaration, giving away Hong Kong. And then there was no, what do you call, there was no recourse. There's no recourse, in the agreement. Now we look at it, it's unbelievable. So the Hong Kong is worth, of course, trillions of dollars. They give it away to China for free. And then all that money is supposed to belong to Hong Kong, and it's called one country, two system. And but then they signed an agreement. What if the Chinese don't keep their promise? They never thought of it. I mean, never thought of what if the Chinese. So the Chinese gladly took Hong Kong, and then within 25 years instead of 50 years, basically took over Hong Kong and forget about all the legal system, the freedom and everything, and they do whatever they want. And then the British just protest. Right? And in the meantime, we have more than 7 million people's freedom. And it's been given away to a communist dictator. Can you imagine what happened if you give away 7 million Indian people to Chinese in your border? This is as bad as that. I mean, this is going to be riot. But then of Hong Kong, what can we do? We have no arm, nothing. So now I'm in fact, there's a warrant for my arrest, right? Because I'm founding this Hong Kong Parliament. There are about 7 million Hong Kong people living in Hong Kong. There are about another 2-3 million Hong Kong people living outside Hong Kong. Imagine, it's like India before, right? You used to have a lot of British officials, and British military, and the British born in India. So we have the same situation as yours. And these people are also qualified to vote. Our qualification is either you're born in Hong Kong or live in Hong Kong for 7 years. So you can imagine, we have Australian, Canadian, we have people from your country. Seriously, not small, I know. Few 100,000, you're not talking about small. And they're born in Hong Kong or live in Hong Kong for more than 7 years. Many of them. So I am trying to get everybody, whoever is born in Hong Kong or live in 7 years, the right to vote, right? And elect their own. The first time would be like a constitution member of the parliament. So their first duty this time is actually to draft the constitution for referendum. And this is a huge honor. Imagine, you are running to be a founding father of Hong Kong.
That's right.
I'm not going to run because in order to be fair, I promise not to run. So what happened is, this is very serious. We are going to elect 35 members of parliament, and their duty is to draft the constitution for a referendum by the Hong Kong people. And I have to devise a online voting system that's absolutely safe and not traceable. Bulletproof, and leave no trace. So when the person votes, it's really a self-help All right, you put your passport, and then your face, of course, next to it. So the passport basically writes where you were born. All right, so if it's Hong Kong and then the passport picture matches with you, it's simple AIs. Then you are qualified to vote. Something like this. There are also other cases. But anyway, this is quite safe because at the end of the voting, you delete all the information. And it's all on VPN. The whole thing is done on the latest technology of VPN. So it's not traceable. Your IP address is hidden. So, and there is no apps. There is no apps, no registration. It's immediate, and that's it. So it's a very interesting system. So, and if we are successful, it can be applied not only in China but worldwide. As you know,
Yes, yes,
you wrote the book about the mess in US, right? I mean,
yes.
oh my God, these people are unbelievable. So anyway, and I'm very worried that so we'll go to that later. So anyway,
Yeah.
we are going to have an election sometime by the end of the year to elect 30 MPs to really draft the constitution. It's a very serious matter. We have to invent this whole thing by ourselves. And, in 1997, we were given a so-called basic law, which is a Chinese law, and the Chinese Parliament can override it anytime. So now we're making our own constitution, and eventually we'll have our own government, everything according to our constitution. It's a very interesting. I think it's really worthwhile. Every time and then we have discussion groups. Every time we come up with an idea, which, a constitution is not that complicated. It's pretty extended. But then every article, everything is really against China because they don't have it. Everything they do is they don't, a simple thing that press freedom, for instance, right? Uh, that they don't have it. So we have a discussion group with people mostly in Cantonese. So I would say in China, maybe 100 million people speak Cantonese in mainland China. So anyway, we are trying to stir trouble up and get these people to understand what is freedom, what is the meaning of democracy and all that, because it's all written in the Constitution. And by discussing, they understand. And sooner or later, we are going to spread this virus to them, the virus of democracy. So this is what we plan to do.
I love it. Virus of democracy. You are the Benjamin Franklin of Hong Kong, my dear friend. He was around 76 years old or 74 years old, somewhere in that ballpark when they signed the Declaration of Independence in 1776. And all his feats. He published he printed the first paper currency, which all these 12 states could accept and say, okay, this is not duplicatable, very reliable. He was a printer, more or less, and he did so many things, amazing stuff, amazing guy. Harmonica, he invented the modern day fireplace so that people won't have methane and dye inside, all sorts of good stuff that he has done. But, this is the virus of democracy, has a real nice ring to it. Good luck to you, my friend.
Thank you.
Now you are in the US of A, and how do you find these politics? The Democratic members of Parliament and some even, Democratic members of the Congress and some even Republicans also, they are talking about a case that took place in India where one of the opposition leaders lost a defamation suit. And he could have apologized. What he said was wrong. But they are saying now Modi should go and overturn the judicial order. But they are not saying anything about what they have done to the ex-president Donald Trump. So this is a mess. The US likes to talk about other countries' democracies, but it will be very quiet when it comes to their own. Your thoughts on what's going to happen? Do you think he's going to be arrested? Because Ron DeSantis has said, I'm not going to honor any request for extraditing Trump. So take it away.
I believe, first of all, he's indicted, right? It's called indicted,
indicted
by the grand jury, even though there's no document yet. But I'm sure that's a fact because everybody's reporting it.
Yeah.
And for a crime, which is really ridiculous. I mean, Trump is a very good-looking guy. Why should he have to pay anything, really? I mean, in Manhattan, there are busloads of beautiful women, really chasing after him. So first of all, I don't believe he need to pay anybody, right? And he has beautiful wives and family. There's no need for such thing. So the whole case in the beginning was a ridiculous thing. I live in Manhattan for 10 years in the Trump Tower, so I know what's it like. And of course, this way over the statutory limit, and then it's a joke. So what they're really doing is helping Trump for his re-election in 2024. And this is very helpful. You remember when he was running at 2016, he used to argue all the way with the press. Remember, on a daily basis, he would pick a fight and then start doing this, and then the whole nation will be reporting it. All the TVs will report. This is one of his gimmicks. All right? He's very good at it. And these guys walk right into his trap. So I think it's really helpful, and he's going to gain at least overall maybe over 10% just in this so-called arrest. If he's arrested and taking a must shot, and then even with a it's even better. It works even better for him. So I don't feel bad for him at all. I think you remember he was the one who announced it first, so he's creating his own publicity. He's very good at it. You remember the Apprentice? He used to he knows how to publicize himself. The man is very, very clever, and USA needs such a person. I lobby. I spent last 10 days in DC lobbying. It's a mess. Of course, now luckily we have the conservative running the Congress, the House of Representatives,
Right.
and they are doing a lot. Half of their effort is actually against China. The other half is doing domestic legislation, and very active. I call them machine gun. They are really machine gun every day, and let's keep on pulling the trigger. And every day, these laws are very, very tough. It represents the anger of the American people against what China have done. So it's very good, and I don't need to do any lobbying. They are more aggressive than me, and very successful. And this is just the beginning. They've only taken over the Congress, but in about 2 months, and then it's going to be severe. It's keep on escalating. A lot of hearing now, domestic hearing. They're going to have international hearing, especially on the virus. Virus is a big deal, and the origin of virus, and even Biden has just signed off to disclose, to what you call release everything, meaning no more secret. All the classified document on the COVID must be released. COVID origin. So we are this. They're the whole. Not only the whole world was waiting for them. Everybody knew that virus came from Wuhan. Everybody knew, but everybody is just waiting for U.S. to take the action. Australia have huge evidence. UK, everybody, I'm sure India and Taiwan especially, they have all the evidences that is from a biolab warfare. It's a weapon, right? And they weaponized the virus. So this first is to confirm the origin, and then it's going to be reparation. And I think globally, at least the total loss was $100 trillion global loss. And I think US now finally is going to take the leadership and chase after China. Of course, we're not going to get that kind of money, but at least we know where the responsibility. And then China forever, and for the at least 100 years, will owe this damaged debt to the world. And we must make it clear. Somebody, even if they cannot pay, then we have to make sure that everybody knows what the damage is, what they have done, especially the Chinese people, because the Chinese people believe the lie from the CCP that the virus came from the United States. Seriously,
Yes, I know.
it's such a joke. So I would say that with the U.S. leadership, and it's of course there are lots of other things happening, but this virus damage would be very important. for the whole world to put things right.
So you just triggered off another thought in my head. See, Cathay Bank, they have accepted that 3 million payments was done to Rob Walker, and those 3 million were distributed among three people: Joe Biden, Jim Biden, and the wife of his first son, Beau Biden, first or second son, Beau Biden. This is now, Chinese have also accepted it. Do you think Biden now will have more blowback from this?
Now, first of all, I use Cathay Bank, and Cathay Bank actually owned by the Taiwanese, not the mainland Chinese. And I'm in Boston. They have a branch here in New York and everywhere, especially in Silicon Valley. And it's a pretty good bank. And most Chinese like me, this guy, in fact, the money was handled by a Hong Kong Chinese by the name of Patrick Ho, all right? And he is the go-between between Hunter Biden and then this Chinese company, 𝙒𝙖𝙩𝙨𝘼𝙥𝙥, Mr. Yip in Shanghai. So this is $3 million is only the first payment. All right, there are 11 payments, and
so
they've
33,
only so that's going to be at least tens of millions of dollars. Biden has pocketed it. Of course, it's criminal, right? And the whole family. But what can you do? Biden controls the Department of Justice and the FBI. So you control the police. So who's going to arrest him? This is the whole problem. He's really weaponized the DOJ and the FBI. So they only go against the Republicans. It's ridiculous. You know, you came all the way from India. You believe this is a great country, right? Where you have justice. When you see these things, I don't know what to believe anymore. I mean, the most valuable of the United States is their law. And Biden is breaking their own law. This is most valuable. You look, I mean, I travel all over the world. South America, in terms of natural resource, is much more wealthier than North America. And the only difference is North America have very good law they abide by.
Right.
And South America, they're all dictators. Law is everything. And once you weaponize the DOJ and FBI, it's really the whole system. So we don't know what to do. We're hoping that when Trump comes back, he's very efficient. He can clean up all this mess in a matter of 1 or 2 years. And there are lots of mess. The whole Washington, you can really fire 80% of the people. It wouldn't make any difference. I'm serious. You know, I have lived here for the last 3 years. I watch everything. The states in the United States, the states are running quite efficiently. It's really the federal government. It's a disaster. It really is a disaster.
Let's move on to the new currency that the BRICS Bank, they want to call it the New Development Bank. Yes. And they're also proposing a new currency. I think that's backed by gold. US is getting a little bit concerned. I can definitely tell you now people are beginning to talk about de-dollarization in the US. How do you see this play out? Last time we talked about Saudi Arabia and Iran enabling a pipeline to go from Saudi Arabia all the way down to China.
Yes.
Now, the meeting that took place when we had our conversation was between the two national security chiefs, not the heads of state. I think that might be happening soon. Your take on where do you think this new currency is headed? Is there going to be a BRICS Plus, which comprises of the first 5 plus Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and Iran?
No, first of all, it used to be called the BRICS Bank, all right? And they changed the name to New Development Bank. Right. And it's based in Shanghai. I know the Chinese representative. Chinese representative is the real power because they came up with most money, all right? And meaning he's still he called himself the vice president of the bank, but in fact, he's the real power. Yeah. He's the real power because they provide the money. And it's right in Pudong, there's a beautiful place in Pudong. You remember there was a world fair in Shanghai. This whole world, they took it down, and the world fair is the size of Manhattan. So they rebuilt it, and all the biggest company in the world are all represented in this whole area. the site of the World's Fair. And of course, this bank, the New Development Bank, is also, they have their own building. Every bank has their own building. You should go and see it. It's wonderful. This whole thing, all the cars are running underground. All right. And above ground is all landscaping. So it's beautiful. It's really well done. And so what happened is, of course, their whole aim is to become a global currency against the U.S. And we all know U.S. is because of oil. The whole everybody decided to accept dollars, to be the currency. That's why U.S. dollar became the global currency. And Saddam Hussein was trying to change that, and he got murdered.
Give me euros for my petrol.
He got murdered. All right, and then they pinned some kind of a what do you call what was the weapon? Weapon of
Weapons of
mass
mass
destruction.
destruction. Right.
WMD. So it was all Trump up, right? Because this guy was trying to say, I won't accept US dollars for my oil. That was the whole reason. All
Right.
right. And we all know that the Bush family is very much oil related. The whole senior Bush, I mean, they live in Midland, Texas. That's where
Right.
oil is. Right?
Right.
So they
Right.
represent oil interests. And so this what's happening is China understand now this is the best opportunity. U.S. just had a banking crisis. U.S. is not really buying any Middle East oil because it's self-sufficient.
Right.
Right? It's self-sufficient. They just opened up another thing in Alaska. Right? So it's self-sufficient. So who is the biggest customers? No question. It's China and India. I think India may even become bigger than China because you have a bigger population now than
Right.
China.
Right. Right.
So this is why the BRIC the BRIC countries they call the R5 plus, right? R5 plus because all their currencies start with R. The BRIC countries, you have rupee, right? And the
Rupee.
RMB, and then
Right.
Rand, and
Ruble.
so on and so
Yeah.
forth. So
Real.
R5 plus meaning more countries joining, of course. And the OPEC countries are all joining because they have oil and they have no more USA as a customer.
Right.
No, just the customer is gone. They don't need the USA doesn't need the natural gas. They don't need anything. So you don't need to use US dollars anymore. So it's a perfect timing for the BRIC countries to really introduce this. And unfortunately, China and Russia is behind the back. I mean, India should be really taking leadership of this new currency. It's healthy to have a new currency, to have alternative than US dollars. But who is in charge? That is the problem. You give it to Russia and you give it to China, they weaponize it. All right? Then it's going to be a mess. And US, of course, is not going to sit there and let them walk over them and let them take over the US dollar's leadership. So if this is going to be the reason for the Third World War, if India would have taken the leadership, it's not going to be that serious, really. But you need to be very, very active and very dominating. So, but unfortunately, these guys are taking over. They are not going to take over the US dollars, but they can cause a lot of damage to
Right.
the global, and they don't care. As far as they're concerned, you see, Russia is under so many sanctions. China is partly being sanctioned. They don't care. They just want to cause damage. It's like they arrest Donald Trump. They know it's not going to make him lose it's going to continue to run, but they just want to cause damage. So I'm worried. They can cause quite a bit of damage. Maybe they may even end up with 5 to 10%. This new currency issued by the new, it could be even be a digital currency backed by gold or precious metal or even silver, in India's case. So I believe what's going to happen is they may succeed, maybe about 10%, but it can cause so much disruption and also a conflict between US and them. It's going to intensify. There is no question. There is no going backward. The relationship between US and the Axis, let's call them the Axis countries, and India, unfortunately, is caught in the middle. and you are taking your side, of course. I saw the Japanese Prime Minister coming to India, and then you are going to join the G7 meeting in Japan, and so on and so forth. I'm sure India is choosing the right side, but you are caught in the middle of this, and same thing with Brazil. The president was going to visit Beijing, and I don't think he got really sick. The U.S. is forcing him not to go. So it's a very serious situation. There's a conflict going on underneath. And the thing I worry about, remember I called you 2 weeks ago, and I said, what if Chinese dump their $1 trillion debt, treasury,
Right,
US
right.
treasury, and then use the proceeds, which of course is US dollars, to buy gold? And 1 trillion purchase of gold can drive the gold price up, which is to their advantage because Russia and China, I don't know about India, but have the highest reserve of gold.
Yeah, India is number eight. It's
On
not
number
very
8.
high. Yeah.
Yeah, but Russia and China together have a huge amount of gold reserve, and they've been taking physical delivery lately in the last couple of years. And if they buy $1 trillion worth of gold, it's going to be very disruptive. And China is afraid if they attack Taiwan, they may get the same sanction as like the Russian attacked Ukraine. So if there's a sanction against China, the $1 trillion of treasury may be also sanctioned. So it is in their interest to sell them off and get out of US dollars and buy gold, and at the
Right.
same time to attack the free world with their new currency. And India's position is really very embarrassing. I think I don't know what you're going to do.
Well, yeah, we have to wait and see what it does. Many people have critiqued about this, that being in the middle is not going to help in this case. So I don't know what's going to happen. Your guess is as good as mine, Elmer. And thank you so much for taking the time out to talk to us. Good luck. Enjoy the Boston weather. I think there's a small respite. There's no rain for a few days. And who knows again what happens. Thank you so much. Namaskar.
Thank you for interviewing me. Thank you again.